CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable. I'm your host, Nick Qualius. I'm here with Marv and with Mike Molyneux. And last week, I opened up the show talking about how we're just not used to this. We're just not used to talking about a bad football team. But things really didn't change this week. We said against the Bills, it was a necessary win. Not only because the Bills are in first place, but just because you're on this skid right now and you have to prove as a football team that you guys can compete. And we thought you could at the start of the season. You took the Seattle Seahawks, a talented football team, down to the wire. But things are just falling apart now. Cam Newton is falling apart, and the team does not look like they can compete with the big dogs in the AFC. Looks like the Bills might be able to, although they're wishy-washy. So, guys, to end the game this past week, Cam Newton fumbled the football. He hasn't been playing great since he came back from COVID. And, you could attribute that first game, that struggle to, the team didn't practice much. Yeah, Cam's coming back from COVID, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the next week also didn't play well. And then this week, okay. But, guys, the question is, now at this point, with the team sitting where they're at, is it time to just forget about Cam Newton, at least for the next game, and just play Jarrett Stidham as you get ready for the Jets and see what you have there with that young quarterback, the second-year quarterback? Marv, let's start with you. What do you think about that?
See, I understand why this question needs to be asked. I get it. The Patriots are 2-6, and when any team in the NFL's 2-6, the first person you look at outside of the coach is the quarterback. So I get it. I understand. But this is a ridiculous question. Nick, you asked to see if you have anything with Jarrett Stidham. You don't have anything with Jarrett Stidham. Point blank, period. You don't have anything with him. He's not a good quarterback.
We haven't seen
we know.
We haven't seen like a full game out of him yet.
When Brian Hoyer was the start, when Cam Newton had COVID, that told you everything you needed to know. And it took Brian Hoyer to make two catastrophic mistakes to finally say, all right, maybe we should try to play Jarrett Stidham there. And Jarrett Stidham didn't blow your socks off, anything like that once he played. Cam Newton, yes, I understand he struggled since he's come back with COVID, but who's he playing there with? Look at last week where they finally went back and, they put the system around Cam Newton where he can be Cam Newton. They didn't do the Tom Brady system that they did the past couple weeks, which made no sense. They centered the offense around Cam, let him go, throw little, screen passes, throw some slants to Jacoby Myers, who had a great game. And Cam was being able to Cam, and you still had a chance with the depleted offense to come back and beat the Buffalo Bills, who are on the top of the AFC East. I still believe in Cam. Cam, he has struggled, and you can't defend him for the fumble. Was a bad fumble. He needs to tuck that in. And while watching him run, there was times fumble. I don't know if you guys had that. I don't know if you had that thought too, but watching him run sometimes during that game, I'm like, damn, the way he's running that ball, it's going to get stripped eventually. It just looked like he was swinging his arms too much, and eventually that's what happened at the end of the game. But if you had Jarrett Stidham playing this game throughout the first quarter through the fourth, I don't think you're in a position to score 21 points. It's just you're not. And Cam Newton still has a lot to do in this league, a lot left in the NFL, a lot left with the Patriots team, I believe. And you don't have Julian Edelman. You didn't have N'Keal Harry. You're putting your Damian Harris there as your running back. The offensive line has been shifting back and forth. I get everything is bad, but it's not Cam Newton's fault. This past game, especially, was not Cam Newton's fault on why you lost. And if you want to put the blame on Cam, are you going to look in Jarrett Stidham you guys are really going to tell me Jarrett Stidham is the answer? Oh, he would have had a better game than Cam Newton. I don't think so.
No. Jarrett Stidham, of course, isn't the answer. But so the team's sitting right now at 2-5. My main question is, do you think that the Patriots
2-6? I was thinking about my fantasy team. Sorry.
I said the same thing last week. Look, the question is, guys, if do you think that the Patriots are going to re-sign Cam Newton? And if not, and like at this point, things aren't looking great. And if not, my biggest question is, if you're not going to re-sign him, why not just see what you have in Jarrett Stidham? Because I think you should at least test the waters there at some point. But I'm with you on not doing it at least this week. If he struggles this bad against the New York Jets this week, a team that nobody should struggle against, a team that I shouldn't struggle against as quarterback, then we've got a major problem. Then you should reevaluate. Mike, what do you think? Is it time, or is it almost time for the Patriots to bench Cam and to play Jarrett Stidham?
One thing that Marv said that I was definitely going to bring up is the fact that week where Cam with COVID, and the question was who do they start at quarterback? The fact that they turned to Brian Hoyer over Jarrett Stidham said enough. It said enough. If this is the guy who you're posing the question right now, is it time to turn to him and see what you have in him? Why did they turn to him in the week where your starting quarterback was out? Why coming out of training camp? Why did it seem like he was the third option on the depth chart? I understand he dealt with whatever possible leg injury during training camp or whatnot, but you just got this sense from the team that they had no faith in Jarrett Stidham. Like, he's on the team, yeah, but the pecking order went Cam Newton as a starter, Hoyer, and then Stidham. And there was even games where I don't even know if he dressed for the game. I don't even know if he was on the sidelines.
Yeah, he wasn't active for the first couple of games.
Like, there's nowhere to be found.
He stinks.
This is the guy you want to see what you have him in. Honestly, personally, your best option at quarterback, in my opinion, is Cam Newton, no matter what. We all know for a fact Brian Hoyer sucks. And Stidham, no faith, no trust in him at all. Your best option is Cam Newton. Now, is it Cam Newton's fault that this team is 2-5? No, I don't believe so. I think collectively, Cam and the rest of the offense all are having issues. They're all struggling. It's an issue all around. I will not put this on Cam Newton's back. Yes, it's easy to do that because when there's things going wrong, you look at the coach, you look at the quarterback. It's easy to do that. But if you're a football fan and really a Patriots fan, you can see this team for what it is. The offense is not good, and it's not Cam Newton's fault completely. He has a blame just like the rest of the offense has a blame. So with that being said, Cam Newton has to be the guy. From now to the end of the season, you have to roll with him. You have to, because one, he's your best option, and two, who else are you going to trust to put the football in their hands? It's not Stidham. It's not Hoyer. I've been even seeing Hoyer since that game where he just completely sucked. You got to roll with Cam. I don't want to see Stidham with the football in the same point blank.
So, if Cam ends up having a bad game against the Jets this week, guys, I am genuinely, I guess now, if that's the case, and if that happens, if he does have a tough time, then is it time to consider just packing in the rest of the season and going for a draft pick in the top 10? Like, is that not a valid question? And yeah, I agree. Cam Newton's a much better quarterback than Jarrett Stidham is. I think, like, I'm with you. I was playing devil's advocate earlier, but I've seen enough of Jarrett Stidham too. I don't think he's the guy. I think you got to look for somebody else. But you got to wonder if it's time to move up and consider trying to get a top 10 pick. And then if you trade Stephon Gilmore too to somebody, then you've got 2 first-round draft picks, and you really start to rebuild. But then by having that additional pick, then you get into the whole conversation about Bill Belichick, the GM, which we're going to talk about also on another episode this week. But if Cam has a really tough time this week and he looks bad against the Jets, I'm going to have a tough time not thinking the Patriots should start Jarrett Stidham again, just to give him a longer leash and to see what he can actually do as a starting quarterback, and not just these spurts where he comes in and out of games.
Jarrett Stidham getting a start for the Patriots completely confirms to me that the Patriots are tanking. Jarrett Stidham is the tank signal.
He is.
100%. Stidham is the tank signal. And I don't think the Patriots are there yet. I think, they're still rolling Cam. Belichick has said they're rolling with Cam. But if you ever see that the Patriots are starting Jarrett Stidham in a game somewhere down the line in this season, that to me is the tank signal because he's not the best option at that position.
Jarrett Stidham, the tank signal. It's not fun to watch, guys. It's not.
Not at all.